welcome back to Sonya's Prep. I've been back at work for a few weeks now, and on Sundays my mom is usually coming over my house helping me to prep for the week, so make a few meals that last us about 2 to 3 days. So I'll take you along today and show you what I'm prepping and how I'm going to be using it for the week. So let's roll up our sleeves and let's get prepped. I'm starting off today by showing you a little small grocery haul of all of the things that I basically needed for this meal prep that Shai just dropped off. For all you breastfeeding moms, do you see the malt beer that's right over there to the left? I'm curious if you guys have ever heard of drinking malt beer to increase your milk supply. I've been doing that. I don't know if it actually works, but I enjoy the taste also. So as I said earlier, my mom is here helping me cook, and the first meal that we're going to be making is some meat sauce with pasta. It's one of the easiest meals for me, I think for a lot of moms, because it comes together so quickly. But although it comes together so quickly and technically I can do it the day of, if it's one less thing that I can do while my kids are home and the hustle and bustle of the weeknights, I will definitely do it ahead of time. So as you saw, I put about 3 tablespoons of oil into a skillet, sauteed some onions, and simultaneously I'm having a pot of water boiling for my pasta to go in. Now that the onions have sauteed nicely, I'm dropping in about 2 pounds of ground meat. You can use any kind of meat to your liking. I have here a mixture of turkey and lamb. It comes together very nicely with chicken or beef. And I'm going to season everything very generously with some salt, black pepper, some garlic powder, onion powder. You could also add in cumin, coriander. It really depends on your flavor profile, and you can make it as simple as just salt and pepper or just add a bunch of stuff to it that you enjoy. Of course, I'm going to be adding in my favorite tomato sauce. I do like it very saucy, so even though I don't show it here, whatever you saw that I added, I do double that, and I do add water to thin out the sauce a bit. I mix everything really well. I'm going to be covering it with the lid and let that simmer for about 20 minutes until it's all fully cooked through. At this point, the water for the pasta has started to boil, so I'm going to be dropping in the box of pasta and allowing that to cook as per the instructions on the box. As you all can see, my mommy's in the background. I am so blessed to have her come over almost every Sunday to help me with all of this. It's truly a blessing, and I really do appreciate it. Thank you, Mom. Now the pasta is fully cooked through, I'm going to be draining it and dropping it into the pot with the meat sauce, mixing everything thoroughly, and our first meal is officially done. I know I have a lot of mommy viewers here on the channel, and I would love to know, what are your go-to quick, easy recipes that you gravitate to making for your family? What do your kids love to eat? I'm always looking for something new and different, so let me know in the comments down below. Now that Passover is right around the corner, I can't even believe it. I find myself cleaning out the freezer and the fridge of any type of chametz, and I know that I had egg roll wrappers inside of them, so I thought, what better thing to do than make egg rolls with them? It'll go beautifully with the other meal components that I'm going to be making. So that's what I'm doing right now. I am shredding up some cabbage. I use 1/4 of a cabbage, and I shredded that up and then sliced up a carrot very thinly, and some scallions. As you saw, I used about 3 scallions and I chopped them up. And of course, I'm going to be adding in some ginger and garlic, and I used about 1 tablespoon of each of them. If you're curious about any of my kitchen utensils or gadgets that I'm using in the kitchen, I always try to have it linked in my Amazon storefront, and I have that in my description box. If you can't find anything, always send me a message and I'll be happy to link something for you. So now that all of the prep for the egg rolls are done, I'm going to be getting ready to saute everything. I place in about 3 tablespoons of sesame oil into a pot. I add in all of the ginger and garlic and give that a nice mix until I smell that amazingly delicious aroma. And I'm going to be dropping in the scallions as well and mixing that through just for a few seconds. Egg rolls come together really quickly because you really don't want to wilt any of the vegetables. You want them to remain semi-raw. So that's what I'm going to be doing. It comes together in a snap. After the ginger and the garlic and the scallions, I'm dropping in the cabbage and carrots, seasoning everything with some soy sauce, salt, and black pepper. Mixing everything thoroughly for not even a minute, just until I see they are starting to wilt. I shut off the fire right away and remove it from the hot pot so that it doesn't continue to cook. To fold the egg rolls, you'll need a little bit of water to act as a glue to seal all of the edges. So as you see, I place them in a diamond shape. I put about a tablespoon or 2 of the filling into the middle. I fold over the sides and wrap it up like a burrito almost. And to seal the edges, again, I'll be using some water as glue. Now to fry them, I place them into a skillet with about 1 inch of avocado oil and I brown them on both sides. These honestly didn't even last the day. My kids just devoured them. Shai also just devoured them. They were perfectly crispy, delicious, juicy inside. And of course, I enjoyed them too. The next meal that we'll be prepping is a very traditional Bukharian meal, which is called plof. It's made with rice and carrots and meat. So let's get started. You're basically going to need 2 large onions thinly sliced, like I'm slicing it right here. And my, ratio for the carrots is I use 1 carrot per cup of rice. I'm going to be using 5 cups of rice this time, so I'm going to be using 5 large carrots. I'm going to be thinly slicing it. I'll show you how right here. So I'm using a mandolin slicer with a big attachment that they have, the largest attachment. And I also have 5 cups of rice over there on the side, and I have about 8 steaks, 7 to 8 steaks of lamb. You could just use meat on the with no bone or on the bone. It's up to you. To actually start cooking everything, I'm using 3 ladlefuls of avocado oil that I'm going to get nice and hot, and I'm going to be then dropping in all of my meat that I cut up into, bite-sized pieces, and I'm going to be mixing all of that around until they are cooked mostly halfway, and later on I'm going to be adding in all of the onions. Once the onions start to soften a bit, I'm going to start seasoning everything. I add in about 1.5 tablespoons of salt, about 1 teaspoon or 2 of black pepper, about 1/2 teaspoon of crushed red pepper flakes, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1 teaspoon of onion powder, 1 teaspoon of cumin, and of coriander. But you can basically omit certain spices that you don't particularly like. It's just important to really season the meat and onions really well, because that's going to be the core and the main part of the meal to come. I'm going to be adjusting the fire now to a medium-low setting and closing the lid for about 20 minutes to really let the meat cook down and cook through. And you see all of the natural juices are coming out right now. And actually, this tip was given to me by my cousin. I really wanted my carrots when I add them in to be really vibrant and not mushy. And she gave me this really great tip not to basically add in the water when I'm adding in the carrots, but you'll see later on. I do have a full video of how I used to do my plov on my channel, so if you're curious, you can check that out. So now I'm basically adding in all of the carrots that I shredded. I'm not mixing anything. I'm just patting everything down, and I'll be closing the lid for about 10 minutes. And the fire is still on a medium-low, and I'm just gonna let them soften slightly before I add in all of the rice. So while the carrots are on the fire over there, I'm going to be washing my 5 cups of rice really well. As you see, the water is very, very milky white. That means there's a lot of starch in there, and you want to get all of that out. And the purpose of that is to really make the rice, it's going to make them non-sticky and not mushy when you're cooking them in the plov. So I'm going to be washing about 3 to 4 times, draining all of the water until the water runs clear. Before adding the rice into the pot, I do season it with cumin, coriander, and some black pepper and salt, just slightly, just to give the rice itself some flavor. Mixing it all thoroughly and then dropping it into the pot with the carrots, the onions, and the meat. I flatten and pat down all of the rice before I add in all of my water so that I can gauge how much water I'm going to be needing. And I ended up using 6 cups of water for 5 cups of rice. And you basically just want the water to come up very, very slightly above the rice. At this point, it's important to increase your temperature to make the fire a little bit higher so the water can start to boil and start to cook the rice through. I cover my pot with the lid, and I'm trying to see if most of the water is gone at this time. So as you'll see, I'm going to be patting everything down, moving some rice away so I can see what's going on underneath. And I find that I still have a good amount of water there, but I will be flipping the rice over, not trying my best not to get the carrots in there, but as you can see, I do have some carrots poking out, but it's totally fine. So I'm going to be flipping the rice that's on the bottom up, and now what's on top I'm going to be placing down so that everything can get cooked through evenly. Again, I'm patting everything down smoothly, covering it with a lid and allowing that to cook for an additional few minutes. And as you can see, I have a lot of juice still left over there, so I know that we still need some time to cook the rice through. After about 5 minutes, I have another peek and I see that most of the water is gone and all that's left is the oil, as you can see. So I make a dome shape with my rice and I poke about 5 to 6 holes all throughout the dome so that it can act as like a conduit for all of the water to evaporate. And once I do all of the holes, I'm going to be adding in some paper towels over the top, but also making my flame very, very low so that the meat and the onions and the carrots don't burn. So once the paper towels are on top, my fire is low, I place a timer for 20 minutes. And after 20 to 25 minutes, the rice should be perfectly cooked through and it's going to be delicious. To properly plate the plov, what's usually is done is the rice gets put on the plate first, and then the carrots and the meat get mixed up thoroughly with a little bit of rice. And once that's mixed beautifully, you add in the carrots and the meat all on top of the rice that you just served, and enjoy. It looks great. It came out really nice, and I really like this method because the carrots look really, really beautiful and vibrant, and they don't break apart. Next on the menu for the week is my mom's delicious lo mein. This is a vegetarian one. You can definitely add chicken or meat to yours if you prefer, but I actually forgot to defrost anything, so I said let's just make it vegetarian. So I do have a bunch of scallions over there, as you saw, with garlic and ginger on the side, and then I'll be prepping all the vegetables. We have 1 carrot here, 1 red pepper, a bunch of broccoli, and all of the other stuff. While my mom is chopping up the other vegetables, I'm going to be dropping in some spaghetti for the lo mein. So as you can see over here, we have purple onions also that I didn't mention earlier, some string beans. Get everything cooking. You're going to be placing in about 3 to 4 tablespoons of sesame oil into a pot and sauteing the ginger, the garlic, and the scallions until they smell very, very delicious. And you're going to be dropping in all of the vegetables that I mentioned earlier. This dish also comes together very quickly because you don't actually want to cook all of the vegetables through, but just basically warm them up so they could just start to soften a little bit. Once the spaghetti is cooked through and drained, I'm going to be adding it to the pot with all of the veggies. And now my mom is going to be seasoning everything with some sesame teriyaki sauce. This actually adds a beautiful color to the dish. And some soy sauce as well, and a little bit more of sesame oil. And she keeps adding all of these ingredients until she likes exactly how the lo mein looks. So I would say about a 1/4 cup of each to start with, and then add it if you feel like your dish needs it. So as you see, she's going to be adding some more sesame oil, and then later on she's adding in some more teriyaki sauce and soy sauce. She mixes everything through, and it just looks heavenly. Usually I have a bunch left over after we have dinners, but honestly I didn't even have that much left over. I was able to just get a few portions for some lunches afterwards. This was really, really delicious and so filling and incredible. Finish the lo mein off, we do add in a bunch more sliced scallions because it looks all nice and pretty this way. I decided to also include a little clip of what normally happens when I get home from work. I try to make a breakfast option for the next day because I'm usually out of the house before my kids are even awake. So I have some challahs left over here, and I wanted to make some French toast. And I'm going to be adding some milk to the eggs, some cinnamon, some sugar, some salt, mix everything thoroughly, dunk my bread into it, and fry them up. I just wanted to show you, I guess, what my normal day looks like when I'm prepping for meals. Of course, my kids sometimes go and have cereal with milk, which is totally fine. But I do try to have something prepared once or twice a week for them that's quote unquote hot for them to have. Or I'll make an omelet batter before I go to sleep one night. And then when I wake up, I quickly make the omelet so that when they wake up, they can just put it for themselves. And they do enjoy it, they appreciate it, and I love that they get to have something hot to eat for breakfast once in a while in the house. To fry up the French toast, I do a combination of avocado oil and butter. I just find that it prevents the butter from burning. I fry them up on both sides, and the kids really do enjoy it. It comes out perfect with challah, and that is a quick, I guess, thing that I can do with leftovers so that I'm not wasting anything also, and they do enjoy it. At around 5 o'clock, in the midst of doing homework with all of the kiddos, I start to prepare dinner. Luckily, dinner is already prepared, so that's one less thing for me to do. So I'm just going to be making a very quick salad to go on the side. To heat everything up, I'm going to be using a pot, placing what I need into it to heat up. And I find that the best way to store all of the foods that you prepped ahead of time is using these glass Pyrex dishes. They remain fresh and they last a lot longer, and I really do recommend it. It comes with an amazing lid, and I think you can find them on Amazon or in Walmart. To make the salad, I do have some lettuce, cucumbers, peppers, and tomatoes. I love adding in some scallions. I have dill already pre-chopped. I have red cabbage already pre-sliced, and I have some string beans, some salad dressing over there on the side, and I love adding these crackers to the salad as well. So I'm going to be putting all of that together very quickly, and dinner comes together very nice and easily because I did so much of the prep on the weekends. The last thing I do before the night is over is prep my kids' lunches. Two of them do take home lunch, so I'll be packaging them up before I go to bed so that I'm not busy doing that in the morning as I'm rushing out the door. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video with what we cook and what we eat as a family. I hope you got some inspiration from it. Happy prepping from my family to yours.